All right, very excited to bring you our Saturday special here with Coach Clay Helton. Big winner there at Georgia Southern, 2-0 to start the year. They go out, beat Nebraska after handling business against Morgan State. Coach, I know it's the busiest time of year for you. It never really stops, but you're playing games this time of year. I really appreciate you taking some time and hopping on with us.
Well, thanks for having me. Really appreciate it, guys.
Definitely. Well, let's hop right in. I mean, you're coming off the big win against Nebraska. Just talk about what that means to you. You're being there after moving on from the place you were before, and just the momentum that it's created early, and especially to the guys in that locker room. You handle business. These are the results that you can get. Just talk about kind of the emotions that are still left over and that whole experience.
Yeah, it was an important game for us moving forward. We're trying to build a national brand. That's our vision, is to be able to, with the recruiting base that we have here, we ask ourselves, why can't we be the next Cincinnati? Why can't we be the next Central Florida? Why can't we be the next Memphis? Teams that have really propelled themselves forward over the last half dozen years. And so, for us to be able to gain respect and to be able to build a proper resume, you have to go into a traditional power and win those games on the road. And our kids had a great mindset. It was a great mental toughness that they walked into. They expected to win the game. They knew it was going to be an up and down game. They knew that it could be a fourth quarter game. And I thought they did a great job of getting to the next play and not letting an electric environment, one of the more special environments I've ever been a part of, and just getting to that next 4 to 6 seconds. And you look up and you collect a win, which was ultra important to us moving forward. And really showed the type of makeup our kids are as far as their mental toughness and how they play the game and how they're bonded together. And now it's time to go play a UAB team and show a different style of mental toughness, to be able to put emotional game behind us and be able to get to the next game against a really quality football team.
Yeah, sometimes it's harder to put a great win behind you than it is a bad loss when it comes down to it. And resiliency, Coach, I mean, every time Nebraska would answer, being at home, they would catch a break or make a play, you guys would always answer. To me, that is a sign of a team that has elite mental toughness, especially this early in the season in an environment like that. But I coached in the Sun Belt. I know it's a great league, but looking around right now, becoming a national brand, you know what helps that? Having a conference that helps elevate you. And you look at what App State did going to A&M, what you guys did going into Lincoln and winning, what Marshall did going to Notre Dame. Hell, South Alabama went up to Central Michigan, a team that dropped a cold 44 points against an Oklahoma State team that's pretty good. What does it mean to you to have the conference have a big weekend like that, including you guys, to really raise the profile of not only the conference, but y'all as well?
Yeah, and you think about the week before with Old Dominion over Virginia Tech. You look at our conference right now, and I have to commend Commissioner Gill as well as our presidents. When everybody was breaking apart, this league stayed intact and stayed together. It was already a strong league that you looked up and you were having 2 to 3 top 25 teams a year within it, with Louisiana Lafayette, Coastal Carolina, App State. It is an extremely strong league. And then now you include Marshall and Old Dominion and Southern Miss and that group of 4 that came in with us. It's become, in my mind, the premier group of 5 league. And so it's important for us to continue. And I'm so proud of Marshall and App State and Old Dominion and how we're playing football within the league, because as your league is strong, it opens up conversations for better bowl games, or as we talk about playoff expansion, in the near future, that, teams that are in the Sun Belt are considered for those premier bowl games and playoff opportunities as we move forward.
Definitely. And Southern Miss gave Miami a good run for their money for about 2.5 quarters.
You bet. Coach, as someone from Statesboro, Georgia Southern football is near and dear to my heart. I mean, I grew up watching Irk Russell eat breakfast at Snooki's. I shadowed Coach Paul Johnson on professional day and won a state title in Paulson Stadium, actually. And over the last decade, we've seen teams and programs like Appalachian State and Coastal Carolina have this extreme success. What's your long-term plan to bring that championship pedigree back to Georgia Southern football?
Yeah, and you said the key word, championships. This place has been about championships, 6 national championships that has created a reputation and a respect, not only in the state of Georgia, but the Southeast. And when you look at, coaches are good, but players are even better. I'm a lot better coach when I got Sam Darnold and Kyle Van and Adoree Jackson and those guys. So when you're talking about the recruiting footprint of Georgia, Florida, Alabama, South Carolina, the success success you have consistently winning championships is important. And the success that you have, just like last week against, a national brand, is important because it drives recruiting. So it started with us last in our first class, the 33 young men that we signed, 22 freshmen, 19 of those freshmen out of the state of Georgia, the 11 transfers that came in key positions, being able to bring Kyle Van Treese here, as the leader of an organization at quarterback and how he has jump-started us. Recruiting is the whole thing. And the guys that you bring in that fit your culture, that can make the plays that these kids are making right now, is important. And we'll take the opportunity to be able to, still bring in unbelievable freshmen that we can develop and bring in some transfers that can help with immediate needs that we can address to build the best team each and every year that plays a consistent brand of championship football.
Yeah, well, someone told me right when you took the job, your first order of business was to recruit the state of Georgia. And I said, well, he's going to have success.
It's a smart
then,
play.
No doubt. You brought up your quarterback, Kyle Van Treese. He went for 409 against Nebraska, 66% completion percentage. What do you want to see from him and the rest of your seniors as you move into Sun Belt play?
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be about that consistency of play, of doing it each and every week, and really protecting the football within a very high-powered offense. This offense is going to have 80 plays in the first game, 95 plays in the second game. When you're completing and being able to consistently move the football and being great on third down, not turning it over, you're going to provide yourself a lot of points on the board, and that's what we've been able to do. I think we're at like 66% on third down right now. We're protecting the football very well as a team. Our defense is getting turnovers. Our special teams are playing really good, which is providing not only opportunities but great field position. And so we're making the most of our opportunities. You score 45 versus a good Nebraska defense. You put 59 on the board in the first game. We're making the most. We're playing good as a total unit. And so I'm looking forward to seeing that consistency week in and week out of being able to succeed. And it's not only Kyle and the job that he's done, but I tell you, the hidden factor in all of this has been the rushing game. Everybody will talk about the 400 yards of passing and what the wideouts are doing, but we rushed for 233 yards in that game. The running backs have had 9 touchdowns in 2 games. Our running game has been so important, and that balance of being able to run the football and be able to be explosive vertically down the field, that balance has created success. So that consistency of play and that balance is going to be really important for us moving forward.
Talk about it all the time, don't we, guys?
Like we always say, chemistry isn't just a class I failed twice in high school.
Twice?
I'm pretty sure they average 8 yards a carry on the ground.
It's pretty good, bud.
It's pretty good. Hey, huge win over Nebraska, Coach. And you got a UAB team coming up this week. The same guy, Brian Vincent, who coached me in high school. What's the messaging to your team this week to make sure there's no hangover after a big win last week versus Nebraska?
Yeah, we talked about the mental toughness of going to the next play versus Nebraska in a really hard atmosphere to play in, and there would be ups and downs. Now there's a new mental toughness, and that mental toughness is getting to the next game against a UAB team that, as you know that program. It has a winning culture. It was set by Bill Clark. It's been carried on by Coach Vincent. That they're 1-1 right now, but you watch that game versus Liberty. They really shot themselves in the foot with 4 turnovers, and it really should have been a different game with the protection of the football. And, this is a physical team, a tough team. They limit your possessions with that run game that they have. They've thrown 33 balls in the first 2 games. So they're run it some more, then throw it over your head, and they limit your possession. So like I said earlier, it's going to be really important for us to glue into our game plan. It's not about the hype that is around us right now. It is more about the preparation. And we win games on Tuesdays and Wednesdays with our preparation. And so that's the message to our team is don't change what we've done. We've walked into every week saying, all right, every Tuesday I make a player stand up and say what our record is. And they go, hey, we're 0-0, coach, just trying to go to 1 on the week. And so that'll be the same message today.
Definitely.
I love it.
Coach, I got a couple more. I know you're a busy, man. We'll let you out of here. Real quickly, we asked Coach Vincent this from UAB as well. What are your thoughts on the group of 5 having their own championship outside of the one kind of massive one we had right here? Do you have an opinion on that?
Well, I will say this. I think the importance of the games that are being played right now is really building respect and resume across the board. When all of a sudden you look up and you're beating Nebraska and Texas A&M and Notre Dame and Virginia Tech, you're a part of the national story. And it is so important for our league to stay consistent in their play and stay strong together. Because as we stay strong and the playoff expansion happens, I don't know how you don't talk about teams that come out of this. You look at Louisiana Lafayette, that's been a 35-win team over the last 3 years. Billy did a tremendous job there of producing a national product. So if we're going to be a part of the national story and beat the teams that we're beating, we deserve when the playoff expansion happens to be talked about on a national scale within that playoff. So I think we're putting ourselves in a great arena to be able to do that. I think we can compete at the highest standard. I really do. And we've proven that. And we deserve to be talked about in that picture. So I hope we become a part of that playoff expansion personally, because I know that we all want to compete at that level and have those opportunities.
Well, with the type of athletes you guys are recruiting, I mean, when you can run, you're strong, you're fast, and you're smart. That's a pretty good combination. Last one, Coach. You talk about the national profile. When a place like App State gets game day to come for a Sun Belt game, it doesn't just affect Boone, North Carolina. It doesn't just affect Troy, Alabama. This is a great move for everybody in the conference about raising the profile once again. Just a real quick comment on that and what it means.
Yeah, it's important, and thank you to ESPN and them to be able to recognize what our conference is doing and be able to promote not only ourselves and our conference, but the group of five and the quality of teams that are out there. The players that are in this league, I'm going to tell you, are special. I mean, you look at year in and year out, the players that are going from this league to the NFL, we're competing against. I'm watching them on tape, and I'm like, I don't see any difference. Some of the players that we're going against in these different leagues that we call Power Five or Group of Five. There is talent across the board. So to be able for the national media to be able to recognize that and say, you know what, these are really good teams. Let's celebrate one of these teams within the Sun Belt. That's special for all of us, and now we've got to do our job. Don't pat ourselves on the back. Keep that consistent style of play and keep building our resume, not only as individual teams, but as a conference.
Yeah, well, they say adversity reveals character, prosperity does too. Coach Helton, I really appreciate your time, man. I know it's a lot going on. I know probably the meals at Snooki's probably taste a little bit better after a week like that.
Snooki's closed down, unfortunately.
It did.
But
it did.
Yeah, he has options. Fordham's Farmhouse. There's a lot of options in Statesboro, Coach. We got you.
Open it back.
Start
Shakey's Pizza.
I'm trying as hard as I can not to gain dang 15 pounds. Good
luck down there.
Hey, you've been in the South long enough. Heck, you were at Memphis. That's the soul food capital. But, Coach, I really appreciate it, man. Congrats on a great start. I know you guys are going to keep chopping wood. Got a big one against UAB. Hope you guys stay healthy and good luck this weekend.
Thank you, man, for having me on. Hail Southern.
Hey, definitely. Southern. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. This is our Saturday special. Enjoy your football watching. I know they are in Statesboro right now.